Hello and welcome back to the Captaincy picks for Game Week 6. I'm in a especially elated mood because I think this is a really fun set of Captaincy picks this game week. I think there's no high value asset that has outstanding fixtures. There's not one that is an absolute go-to. We've got the likes of Ronaldo and Salah playing games, but there's some difficult defences there. But there's also some differential picks which will do well for Mr. Dinnery. So yeah, let's get into it, Ben. Who do you want to bring up first?
Look, I'm not going with the differential pick. I'm going to go for the standout and one of the most obvious ones in Mo Salah this weekend. Liverpool travelling to Brentford. They've had a great start to the season. Defensive data has been fantastic, kept things really tight, but they haven't faced anybody of the quality of Leeds, of Liverpool's attack. Standout Mo Salah. We're talking about a player who's already amassed 50 points in the official game from 4 goals, 3 assists. I mean, you know, what's more to say about him? He's up there. The guy, in terms of his numbers and his awards and his trophies, he's up there with the Messis and the Ronaldos of this world, although he doesn't seem to get the same kind of coverage. He's had a great season. He's added assists and he's added that more creative role to his performances this year. You know, we always see him as a goal scorer. He's on spot kick duties. What more is there to say about that guy?
Yeah, Mo Salah is absolutely fantastic. And in terms of the data as well, Liverpool have the highest likelihood of any side this weekend of scoring 2.5 plus goals. And this is the interesting thing with the Brentford game. A lot of people look at their defence as being one of the best. And yes, they're second best for XG conceded. But look who they played so far this season. This is a Liverpool team playing a newly promoted side. People are almost a little bit reluctant to get on Salah, but you know, if this was any other team apart from Brentford, if you said Mo Salah is playing a newly promoted side, you would just captain that without even thinking. And I think this is one of those situations where you do that. He's got the highest projected points of any player as well, but not far behind him in terms of projected points, and maybe up there with him in terms of quality. We have to talk about CR7. He's at home to Aston Villa. He's got the highest XG of all players, and he's only played 2 games. He's absolutely on fire. The Manchester United attack is looking good at the moment as well, top scorers in the league. And yes, defensively, they've not been doing too good, but I don't think it really matters at the moment. They're just going out there and blowing teams away. Also, the Villains, another team that people are a little bit reluctant because they've had a fairly good, robust defence, third best XG conceded of all teams in the league so far this season. But they've got a 13% chance of a clean sheet this game week, the lowest of any team. Man United are going to be far too good for them. And yeah, just with you, Ben, this is the big debate almost, Salah versus Ronaldo.
Yeah, look, I mean, what can we say about Ronaldo? He's arrived back in the Premier League, and then almost a player that seems to be in his prime, you know, defying his agent years at 36. And, you know, he's a freak. He's an anomaly. He's up there with Messi, but he does it continuously in different leagues, and he's settled so quickly. He's hit the ground running, and you can tell that he's absolutely loving being back at Old Trafford. One thing that I would say potentially about Villa, and I agree with what you're saying, they have looked improved performances the last 2 games. Chelsea wasn't reflected in the scoreline, but this 5-3-2 formation that Dean Smith has applied does look a little bit better. However, the caveat this weekend is that Villa will lose Axel Tuanzebe because obviously he's on loan and won't face his parent club. So that can either force Dean Smith into a potential reshuffle and maybe ditch that, or he may look to bring in Courtney House as that 5th defender who may be lacking that little bit of sharpness and match fitness. And you know you need to be on your mettle if you're going to be mocking CR7.
And I don't think it even matters if you're on your day. He's just so good that nobody really compares to him. But who else has caught your eye, maybe as a slightly more differential Dinnery pick?
Yeah, of course, we've had the team news, as we mentioned before, from Marcelo Bielsa. So defensively, they're still struggling. We know Pascal Struijk's out. Luke Ayling is rated as a major doubt. Diego Llorente out. Robin Koch out. and they're facing a West Ham team, great attacking data, great going forward, and Mikel Antonio comes back into the fold. Of course, he served a one-match ban, which kept him out of last weekend's game, but he was also omitted from the Carabao Cup squad midweek. Cue the rumour mill into overdrive. Has he got a knock? Stuart Pearce came out and he calmed all of those fears. He said that Mikel Antonio was fit and firing and training really well. We just wanted to manage him. We wanted to make sure that we kept him fresh for this weekend, which is great news. So given the fact that West Ham are performing so well in that offensive third and the defensive problems that Leeds have had, I think Mikel Antonio is a great option this week.
Yeah, and this is the thing that almost that rest makes me like him even more. You know, he's going to be raring. He wants to be back. He's probably a little bit annoyed at himself that he got that red card. And this is a Leeds team that have conceded the most shots in the box of any team in the league so far this season. Antonio is the type of player that will score those. He'll score half shots. You know, we've seen the quality that he's displayed so far this season. In game weeks 1 to 3, he was topping the charts for XG and XGI. You know, this is such an exciting game for him to return in with full fitness, and it's such an exciting game just in general because everything almost seems to be in his favour for this one. I want to throw in, though, Ismail Sarr. Now, I know you weren't too warm on him, and it was kind of almost a little bit of a gamble, but it paid off against Norwich. I've said last game week that Norwich are really weak on that side of the pitch that he plays, and lo and behold, he did it. But what makes me like him as well was he was playing out wide, kind of, you know, tormenting the Norwich defence, but also at times he was drifting into the middle. He was in the box, he took a lot of shots in the box, and so he had the second highest XG of any player last weekend. He's playing your boys at Newcastle, and I know it pains you to admit this, but Newcastle aren't very good at the moment. Steve Bruce seems to have no defensive organisation, and the team plans are basically get the ball to St. Maximin, pray that he's going to perform a miracle, because for the rest of the team, there's not really much going on. Watford have a 41% chance of victory, 6th best in the league this weekend, and if Watford are going to do well, Sarr is probably going to do well because he's the chief creator, he's the chief goal scorer, like he was last season in the Championship. It all comes through him. He's probably a risky captaincy pick, but I think you have to throw him in there in terms of the lack of quality in the opposition, whereas compared with Ronaldo and Salah, their individual brilliance might see them through, but they're playing bad defences. Sarr is playing a bad defence, and he's in relatively good form.
Yeah, look, I mean, there's no room for sentiment in FPL. So going against my boys in this instance, totally understand the pick. I can see that. Defensively, Newcastle have struggled, and I think Steve Bruce is at a bit of a loss as to how to try and rectify that situation. In recent weeks, we've seen Isaac Hayden drop into that back line with Fernandes and Fabian Shaw dropping to the bench. That could change this weekend. We've seen Joe Willock in a protective cast on his ankle. Now, if that's confirmed and he is out of the game, that might mean that there's a shift for Hayden to move back into midfield and one of those fringe players, the Sarr or Fernandes, to drop in to that back line. I actually think that would improve Newcastle. We may not have the same attacking flair going forward, you know, the loss of Willock, but we should be a lot more defensively sound and a little bit harder for Newcastle to break down. But look, if Watford get an early goal, confidence is fragile, you know, without Newcastle team, and we could just, you know, implode, fall like a pack of cards. So yeah, I do like the Sarr pick, and I was one of those that benefited from his couple of goals last weekend in Fan Team.
And let's move it on then to probably the final team, and this is why I said it's an exciting game week, is an Everton attacker. You know, you're best positioned at the moment to kind of advise people who's going to actually be fit for that game week. But surely Gray and Townsend have got to be in with a shout as well.
I mean, great. Yes, I like your thinking. It could be dependent on availability that Everton go with a 4-4-1-1. Gray sitting in just behind Rondon. I have slight reservations and concerns about Rondon, not because I don't like him as a player and not because I don't think he's quality, but he's had 4 months out of playing competitive football, and he is way ahead of schedule in terms of his expectations of being involved in minutes. And obviously that problem's been brought about by the absence of Dominic Calvert-Lewin and also Richarlison. For me, I prefer Townsend on the right-hand side would be my go-to, but also there's also a worry with Luca Digne picking up a slight calf issue in the Carabao Cup. And again, I'm looking at maybe how these injuries could, one, impact on the team in terms of how Rafa might set it up, but also who's going to be supplying those balls in. Where's the supply line coming from? And also Everton on the back of 2 defeats, albeit one was penalties. Again, does that psychologically change the way Rafa's thinking? Yes, you'd expect him to go out and steamroll Norwich, but, a 1-0 win is just as good as a 3-0 or a 4-0 win. And why risk going forward, if you can play it safe and nick that one at home and just appease some of those Toffee supporters?
The thing for me with the Norwich fixture is almost, you said Newcastle might fall like a pack of cards, but this Norwich team already has. They're giving up goals left, right and centre, and they're trying to appease that with a good style of football, but it's just not working for them. And we've seen it in the Carabao Cup as well, that they couldn't get their stuff together. So I'm thinking that it doesn't really matter if the players are that fit or not, if Rondon is, if Gray is getting that service. I think that they're going to create chances for themselves because they're just so much higher quality. And I kind of like this fixture for that. I think it's one of those ones where you almost have to jump on it because the form of Everton was good before this Aston Villa defeat as well. The fixture is fantastic. Gray has been good, highest XGI apart from DCL in terms of the Everton players. He's probably the one that I back, but I do see the logic in Townsend as well because he is playing on that wing where they have fragilities. So I like that shout. I like quite a few of them, and I think it's going to go to the wire as well. But of course, going to the wire, we will be with you because we have our Saturday stream. So make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification on the channel, but also on that video so that you don't miss out because we'll be answering any last minute injury questions. But for now, that's the captaincy videos done. I'm going to say a goodbye and a good luck from all of us here at the Premier Injuries channel.